All right, so we're gonna get started. We're ready to start. Hey there. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. My name is Enrique Liñán, and we're all very happy to be here with you today. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm gonna have my colleagues here introduce themselves. Yeah,
Hi, this is Dr. Su. I will be one of your PCVs.
which stands for Peace Corps Medical Officer.
Good morning, invitees. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alicia Mata. I am the Youth Development Program and Training Specialist, or PTS.
Hi, hola a todos. I am Alonso Campos, the Volunteer Support Manager.
All right, thank you. So I wanted to start by welcoming you, and I also wanted to ask you to take a look at, I'm gonna share the screen here. I know for the people who are joining us in the conference line, I'm showing right now the website that we're using, Learning Space, okay? I know that all of you have been using it, so I just wanted to show you where to find the information, okay? Remember, it's learning.peacecorps.gov, and there you will find all the information for your pre-departure preparation. There are some tasks that you need to complete, like uploading your aspiration statements and your resumes. There's a couple of surveys that you need to complete too, and the reading materials, which is just something that we just uploaded, the Dress for Peace Corps Success, and the information about your specific project. For example, youth development here. You will find information about the framework, about what a youth development facilitator does, and also who the strategic partners are. Okay, so please make sure that you read this information. When you get to Peru, we will assume that you will have already read all this information, and we'll start working from this, okay? So please make sure that you read this. If you have any trouble accessing this information, please let me know. All right, I'm gonna start sharing this, and we're back on. All right, so I'm gonna pass it over to Alonso, who's gonna tell you a little bit more about our post, our country.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit about the history of Peace Corps Peru. Peace Corps started working here in Peru in 1962, 1 year after the official opening of the United States. Then from 1962 to 1975, when Peace Corps left the country during the military government, more than 2,600 volunteers served in the areas of education, agriculture, small business, and infrastructure. At the invitation of the Peru's government, Peace Corps returned to the country in 2002 when these two governments signed a cooperation agreement. And from that point, more than 1,200 volunteers serve here in the country. About our sectors, when Peace Corps returned, they opened the health and small business development sectors. And in 2004, Peace Corps Peru opened the youth development sector. In 2005, we opened the environmental sector. And in 2007, we opened the water, sanitation, and hygiene sector. Currently, we work in 4 areas or sectors or programs, which are health, youth, community economic development, which is the new name for the small business development program, and water, sanitation, and hygiene. We also have our Peace Corps Response program focused on those same areas. And this program offers former Peace Corps volunteers and other experienced professionals to serve in a short-term assignment.
All right, thank you, Alonso. Now I'm gonna pass it over to Alicia. She's gonna tell you a little bit more about the program, the youth development project.
Yes, let me talk to you about what is going to happen throughout your service. First of all, about the project goals. As PCVs, you will work with youth to develop leadership skills. That includes life skills, positive identity, critical thinking, and healthy lifestyle activities as sports or art. You will also work on employability, including savings culture, life planning, and vocational skills. You will be also requested as a PCV to work with partners, including community leaders, public service workers, school staff, health post staff, and government office at the institutional level to support youth development and implement youth-led projects. Finally, youth development facilitators work with parents to improve communication with the children and to strengthen family relationships. The youth development project is present in 5 regions, in the coast, the highland, and the rainforest. It is present in the Amazonas region, which is mostly rainforest, in Cajamarca, which is mostly highland, in La Libertad, which is coast and highland, in Ancash, highland too, and in Junín and Pasco, a part of highland and a part of rainforest. I would also like to share with you some key messages from the program. The first one is about your commitment. Your commitment will be for 27 months. We need from you a commitment of service as one of the first core expectations. Some PCVs think that they might give it a try and leave it, but at the end it doesn't work out for them. It will work for you only if you are committed for these 27 months and if you have your mind prepared for it. It is also connected to the commitment that is given, that is provided by the local community we place you in. This community is committed to support you and to welcome you and to work with you for 2 years and to work with the project for a total of 6 years. So it's important for you to commit to 27 months and to be prepared for it. The same goes with the preparations with your partner. Preparing them, letting them know that you can be turned into. So you need also the support of your partner and of course the planning of with your family, because during 27 months you will surely miss a lot of family events. So you need to let your family know that your service will be for full 24 months and after swearing in. So you can plan together family events accordingly. You will work as Peace Corps volunteers with 3 formal strategic partners: schools, health centers, and municipalities. These institutions are expect to work with a professional volunteer, so professionalism is very important. You are requested to live with a Peruvian family for at least 6 months. And also, all the sites have the same working conditions, even with the geographical differences.
Right, thank you, Alicia. Just to point out that when Alicia says 6 months, that's after you swear in. During the first 3 months of pre-service training, you also have to live with the host family. Okay, so the minimum is 9 months. Okay, but most of our volunteers find themselves living with families for like their full 2 years of service. Okay, now I'm gonna pass it over to Dr. Suni. She's gonna give you some more information about medicines.
Thank you, Enrique. So I wanted you to know about like 3 specific topics, and I know I have only 5 minutes, right? Yeah. Okay, so I think my first and main information for you to know is that you are going to get sick, and it's going to be part of the adjustment period that you are going to be going through, mostly the first months here in Peru. Remember that you are going to be in contact with like new type of bacteria and parasites, and it's going to be trust me, a learning experience, and it's going to take you a lot of training that you will receive during your first weeks in country. That's one thing that I need you to realize, that you are not going to have, let's say, the hygiene standards, measures here as the ones that you are used to, okay? That's one of the things that I want you to realize, that it's going to be completely different here. And talking about that, one of the things that you will need to get used to is about like this hygiene standards with your host family. You are going to be living with host family the first 6 months for sure. So, or maybe the whole 2 years. And maybe you are going to find that them does not share the standards that you were used to. And you need to be culturally sensitive. And trust me, we are going to discuss about this during your training on how, in a very polite way, how to discuss about this. Another thing about like hygiene is that due to how our bodies are, girls are going to gain weight most of the time. Boys are going to lose weight most of the time, and it's due mostly to the diet and this adjustment period that you are going to go through. So that was my main topic, that the hygiene standards are going to be different. So that can cause you to be sick during the first weeks or months, okay? The second one is about your medicines. And I know that you know this, but I wanted you to remember or to remind you. You need to bring 3 months of like whatever medication you are taking at this moment. Remember that in Peru, maybe we are not going to have something that you are taking or using available, okay? And we will need to request that from Washington. Normally it takes 3 months. That's why we request you to bring 3 months of like any medication that you are using, okay? And the last thing is about shots. You're going to receive shots. It's going to be fun. And we are going to give you 5 shots: typhoid, rabies, hepatitis A and B, and the flu shot. If by any chance, from the day that you submit your record of shots, if you receive anything like recently, bring that paper, okay? Because if we don't have that paper and you didn't submit that information to Washington, we will give you again that shot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suni. Now, moving on, if you have questions, specific questions about these topics, at the end, we'll have some time to answer your questions, okay? Now we're gonna move on to talk a little bit about training, okay? Some of you have been asking questions about what this is gonna be like. And our training, pre-service training, PST, you'll hear that word a lot, takes place in Chaclacayo. That's a community 1 hour away from Lima. Our pre-service training is for 12 weeks. And the sessions that you will be receiving are on technical content. Alicia will be your lead facilitator for that. Sessions on medical, and Dr. Suni and Dr. Jorge and Dr. Carmen will be the ones facilitating those sessions. We'll also have a lot of language sessions, okay? For the most part, during a full week, you will have about 10 to 12 hours of technical sessions and 10 to 12 or even more hours of language sessions. Okay, you also have sessions on intercultural competency, diversity, and inclusion. Okay, during week 5, out of the 12 weeks, during week 5, you will receive your site placement. Okay, and Alonso with his team of regional coordinators, they are the ones who are working on all the site placement or the site identification strategy right now. He'll tell you more about it when you get here. And you will travel to your future sites during weeks 6, 7, and 8. You will visit your future sites during that time. And then in PST, you will live with the host family, okay? So again, the first 3 months, you have to live with the host family during pre-service training, and then the first 3 months at least. Okay, the first 6 months. Thank you. You're gonna live with the host family in Chaclacayo or in the Chaclacayo area. Married couples are gonna be placed in the same host family. Okay, just so you know, we know there's 2 married couples in the group. It's a good idea to bring a small gift to your host families. Okay, remember you're gonna have 2 host families, one during pre-service training and another during your service. So make sure to bring enough gifts for both of your families. Okay, bringing pictures of where you're from, keychains, magnets, chocolate. We love chocolate from the US. So you can bring any of these things, to give something to your host family the first day that you get there. Okay. The last thing about training has to do with the trainee assessment portfolio. During pre-service training, during those 12 weeks, the team here and some other people in our team will be evaluating your knowledge, skills, and attitudes throughout training. And we have a tool that is called the Trainee Assessment Portfolio, the TAP, that we will present to you the very first day of training, and we'll tell you what is required of you by the end of training. It's a series of assessments that you need to complete. We'll prepare you for that, but the assessments include technical knowledge, skills, and attitudes, language training, intercultural training, some medical sessions, safety and security. It's a combination of a lot of tasks and assessments that you need to be able to complete by the end of training, and that will determine whether you will swear in as a volunteer or not. What is very important for us is the attitude that you have for service and your readiness to serve. We will be measuring and evaluating your readiness to serve and see how effective you will be in your service, okay? We'll definitely give you more information about that, but we just wanted to let you know that there's gonna be an evaluation process. We're doing it out of transparency, and we're very objective with our process, and we'll let you know. We wanna set you up for success. That's what we're telling you right now, so you get prepared, and when you get here, we'll give you more information. Another thing that I wanted to tell you about training is your dress code, okay? So here in Peru, men typically wear pants and button-down shirts, okay, in work settings, and jackets are optional. They're not, I personally like them, okay, but they're optional. Not everybody wears them. Women wear dresses, skirts, or nice pants on work environments. So remember that as you're packing, okay? We're gonna be working in school settings, in municipalities. So you will see that the people around you are usually wearing business casual clothes. So make sure you pack that when you come here. I know that you still don't know what region you're gonna be placed in. So remember to bring layers. That's the best advice. Remember, please, for women, remember that long leggings, yoga pants, tights, or skinny tight jeans should not be worn as form of pants in a professional setting. Okay, I know that it's common sometimes in the United States to wear like yoga pants, like a loose shirt or T-shirt, but here in Peru that's not acceptable. Okay. I'm telling you because I was an instructor at a university in the United States, and I personally was surprised when a lot of my students were wearing those type of clothes, okay? So here in Peru, those are not acceptable. So why? This will definitely attract unwanted attention, okay? Also, short or low-cut garments are inappropriate for women in a professional setting or even in the house family setting. You will see when you're here, but in general, remember those are not allowed here. Okay, during pre-service training, the team here and I will be talking to you. If we see that there is some type of attire or clothes that you're wearing that are not appropriate for the culture, we'll let you know, and we'll tell you to keep that into consideration. If it's something that is like offensive, we'll tell you to go change and then go back to the training center. Okay, but we'll have conversations about that, so don't worry about it. So blue jeans, t-shirts, sportswear, casual sandals, you can use those in the house, okay? But not in the classroom settings, okay? In the house, when you're at your house with your host families, you can use those, okay? Remember that you're expected to dress professionally when attending all events, all training events, or formal events, because you're gonna be going to the schools a lot, and you're gonna be an example for the kids in the school. So you have to be formal, and you have to set a good example for the school. and also you have to be a good representative of our institution, okay? We will tell you more about this, but we cannot stress this enough. Make sure that you bring this, that you bring professional clothes for the time that you're gonna be in pre-service training and for your service too, okay? And also make sure to bring some more formal clothes for the swearing-in ceremony. That is a very formal event, okay? We usually invite the ambassador of the US here in Peru to that event, so we all have to dress up for that event. In terms of tattoos and piercings, in general, when you go to work in schools, school directors tell us that our volunteers should not have tattoos or piercings, okay? So if you have tattoos, we ask our volunteers to cover their tattoos when they are in the school. When you're at the training center, our training center is a safe space and you can wear your tattoos or you can show your tattoos. But when you go to the schools, yes, your programming and training specialist will give you more information about that and what to do when preparing to go to facilitate in schools, okay? And talking about hair, I know that some of you might have long hair or like dreads or braids, and that's also unusual here in Peru. It's unusual for men to have long hair or a trimmer beards. So sometimes some of our volunteers have chosen to shave their facial hair or cut their hair to facilitate their integration process. What we tell, and our bottom line is always, make sure that you're comfortable answering questions and getting unwanted attention if you want to show that, okay? So we had different examples of volunteers that have decided to either get their hair cut, or some other people have said, you know, this is part of who I am and I am ready to talk to my community about it. If you feel that you're ready for that, we'll help you. But then again, the decision is yours, okay? And that's about it. Remember just to be flexible all the time. That's the bottom line. Be flexible and then work with us so that we can guide you through your adaptation process, okay? I'm gonna pass it to Alonso, who's gonna continue telling you a little bit more about safety and security.
Yeah, we have our safety and security unit. You know, you're gonna meet them when you get here. We have our safety and security manager and safety and security assistant. But we are gonna talk a little bit about something it's important that you learn or start thinking about it now. For example, about diversity. So it's important for all volunteers to realize that diversity and the respect for it may mean something very different here in Peru than it does in the States. So volunteers need to make some adjustments and learn how to navigate into these different contexts. Keeping that in mind, Peru, like the United States, is a very diverse country. We, the Peace Corps Peru team, have received training on diversity and inclusion, intercultural competence, and LGBT issues in order to provide you the support that you need and to together try to find the best solution if something comes up. So having an open communication approach between the volunteers community and the staff is very well recommended to work together, as I said, to adapt and address possible challenges and also opportunities regarding diversity. Another aspect important that we need to talk about is gender norms and relations, because we identify those as another challenge that volunteers can face in the field, but most particularly regarding to women. Women sometimes experience verbal harassment and also sexually unacceptable touching or grabbing. Now, unfortunately, Peru is a very machista country, so some volunteers experience very little at their sites, and some other volunteers experience weekly incidents or bi-weekly incidents. Of course, we can work together to provide the support that you need, if you have this kind of challenge. Both Peace Corps staff and volunteers work together in order to help volunteers to understand the change and all new different cultural norms that we have here because as Alicia mentioned, every site is different. No, we cannot tell you how the life in your site is going to be during the pre-service training, but we can start working on tools and strategies which will be helpful for you to navigate, with these different codes and how to, for example, try to have a behavior which can help you with your intervention process. About cell phones and internet, so Peace Corps Peru is going to give you a very basic cell phone. No, the first day of the orientation retreat in September. These cell phones are part of our network, where all calls for staff and volunteers are free. But we need to say, or we need to be very clear, saying this, that in regions in the field, connectivity is very limited. So some PCVs have to learn how to make do with what is available in their sites. In terms of internet connection, inside it varies from site to site, but it's not a requirement for Peace Corps Peru that our sites for volunteers have internet connection. No, but as I said, for those sites where there is internet, this connectivity could be very slow. About insurance, for all electronics like cell phones, laptops, etc., Peace Corps does not replace this except for the official Peace Corps assigned phone. So we do recommend you to have or to get a Clemens insurance. And if you have more questions about it, you can send us an email, send an email to Enrique, and we can forward it to our Director of Management and Operations. Mailing. We recommend against mailing package during your first 3 months of pre-service training. Please tell your family and friends to send care package after you complete your 3 months of pre-service training. After you training, the process for picking up mail can be long and also expensive.
Yeah, thank you, Alonso. Yes, please, we cannot stress that enough. We have had so many cases with our trainees getting frustrated because their packages were stuck at customs and they couldn't pick them up because, as you know, Lima is a very big city. We are 1 hour away from Lima, and usually the customs office is in El Callao port. So it's usually like 2.5, 3 hours to get from Chaclacayo training center to the customs office. It's a lot of time, a lot of money. They usually retain packages there, and then you have to go check them, get special permission. It's a lot of paperwork depending on what you send. Sending letters, email is fine, but packages, we usually have a lot of challenges with that. So tell your families to wait for 3 months, and then after that, you can start getting all those packages when you are in your sites, in the regions where you're going to be working. Okay. Now, Heather, are you in the line?
Yes, I am.
Heather, do you have any updates on passports and visas or anything like that you would like to mention at this point?
Yes. So those that have been contacted, I won't say their names, they are working on overnighting their passports. We're going to attempt to expedite them. More than likely, they will not get finished in time. So thank you to all those who submitted applications on time and have been on top of their tasks. We're trying to get everyone cleared medically, and legal is usually the last to go through. So there are a few outstanding legal clearances. You have up until 5 days before departure to get legally cleared. So you will be notified, and they're notified on a rolling basis. So as soon as you're cleared, you will be contacted. So contacting the legal team to ask about clearances usually isn't very helpful because they will notify you as soon as you're cleared, and they know when your departure date is, and they're actively trying to clear everyone. So thank you for your patience with that. We're just putting on a few of those clearances. And to everyone else, thank you so much for staying on top of your tasks and be on the lookout the next couple of weeks, for the next week or so. for another update from me. I'll work with Enrique, put that on Learning Space to get that out to you as soon as possible. Everyone should have received the reporting instructions. If you have not, please contact me. That's the email that came from staging. It talks about the registration time and the hotel information in Philadelphia and the itinerary for your staging. So if you have not received that, please let me know. And that's about it. From headquarters, Aaron.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, the very last thing I wanted to tell you, and we will send a document. Heather will mail it to you, and it will be available on Learning Space too, which is called Bridge to PST, and you'll have a lot of this information that was covered today will be included in that document. Okay, so look out for that Bridge to PST that will be sent to you next week. And the last thing I want to tell you is about airport arrival. Okay, so we have requested permission from the airport to go and meet you into the area where passengers disembark. Okay, so we usually get permission to do that, and when you get there, you will see me and our country director, Debbie Caprio. She will be there, and we'll be there to welcome you. Then we'll, just do a head count pretty quick, and then we'll go through migrations. After that, then we'll go get your bags, and we'll walk you through the exit so that you can go and meet the Peace Corps staff. And outside, Peace Corps staff will be there waiting for you, okay, with a group of volunteers too. We'll get it all figured out. We'll help you get to the buses that are gonna take you to the place we're gonna spend the first night, okay? Because you are arriving here around 9:30 p.m., okay? So then we'll take you straight to Chaclacayo, to a place where you can spend the night, and then the following morning, you will be taken to the training center. Please remember to pack one bag that you will use only for one night, for the night that you're staying at this, the first night that you arrive, because you won't have access to your big bags until the following morning, okay? What we do is we put all your bags on a bus, and then we take them straight to our training center, and then you will only take one bag, maybe a backpack or a carry-on, that you will take with you for one night. Just remember that you will need that for one night, okay? So pack whatever you need for one night, and then the rest, put that in your check luggage or like whatever type of luggage that you're bringing, because that will go straight to the training center, okay? Make sure you do that. And then we'll start our orientation retreat or orientation days for 2 days at our training center, and you'll meet your host families on the second night that you're here in Peru. You'll meet your host families, and you'll go to your house, the houses where you're gonna be living with them for 3 months, and then we'll continue pre-service training like that. Okay, so that's about it with the information that we have for you. So if you have any questions, the people on the conference call line or the people who are watching us live, please make sure to type your questions. Okay, you can type your questions in the box here, or the people on the conference call line, please feel free to ask any questions that you have. We're very happy to answer them. Okay. Okay, I have a question here from Jamie Ramos. He's asking, is it recommended to live with a host family for the entire 2 years due to safety? If we want to find our own place after 6 months, is it fairly easy to do so? I'm gonna let Alonso answer that question.
Yeah, we do recommend volunteers that they live with their host family for their whole service, but our current homestay policy says that volunteers after the 6 month mark can move on their own, and it's a pretty easy process, but it's gonna depend on the options available in your site. We're gonna have a session during pre-service training where when I'm gonna share our housing criteria. Now our human coordinators are working, identifying sites, counterparts, and host families. But when volunteers want to move on their own, they are responsible for finding out a new option.
Okay, thank you, Alonso. Any other questions? People on the conference call, go ahead, don't be shy. Okay, no questions? You can also type your questions on the chat box if you're joining us live. Okay, there's another question from Jessica. For the dress code for women, how long do skirts tend to be? Dr. Sunny. Dr. Sunny is not wearing a skirt today, so otherwise she would show you.
I normally use dresses and they are going to be under the,
Knee length, right?
yeah, the knee.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel, but wait, I have to, and we're going to discuss about this a lot. But if you show parts of your body, even that it's like below your knee, as Alonso said, there is going to be an increase of the possible harassment, the street harassment, right? But yeah, I mean, normally, now I am talking in Lima, right? Like in rural areas, I think it's like a little bit more, let's say, conservative, right? Like even below your knee may be considered like too much. Here in Lima or in your capital cities, maybe below the knee is going to be okay. Whatever size, like not like that or a little bit higher, it's going to be considered, I will not say inappropriate, but it's going to be considered not part of our culture, let's say that way.
Thank you, Dr. Sunny. Yeah, I will tell you more about that. Read the Dress for Peace Corps Success. You have some examples and some photos there that our volunteers have taken and what kind of clothes they wear. Okay, remember that's on Learning Space in the section that says Required Readings. There's a Dress for Peace Corps Success. Okay, thank you, Dr. Sunny. Any other questions? Thank you, Jessica, for your question. Yeah.
I want to take advantage in the meanwhile that you think about your questions. I forgot to say something about glasses. Okay, remember that you are going to be living in rural areas, maybe far, even far from your capital cities, really far maybe from Lima. So it's going to be challenging if by any chance your glasses are from broken to stolen to like you just misplace them, to replace that. Okay, so bring 2 pairs. If I were you, I would bring more, but I mean, 2 pairs is going to be more than okay. Just one thing about like contact lenses, not a good idea. Rural areas in Peru, even in capital cities around Peru, are going to be very dusty, and the pollution is going to be a problem. And it's really likely that if you use contact lenses, even in your capital cities, you may be having complications like keratitis or eye infections. Like I have just had to hospitalize a volunteer for that reason. So I am not saying don't bring your contact lenses. I just want you to follow our like technical guidelines, and we are going to discuss about this. Do not use them in your site or at all if possible.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sunny. Any other questions, comments, kudos, intros, whatever you want to do, guys? From the conference call line, you haven't heard anyone from the conference call line?
Yeah, I'm good.
We are fine. Can I add something?
Yeah, Dr. Sunny.
The last one. Remember that I said that you were going to be sick because it's going to be an adjustment period. I was talking about more like physically, right? Like you will get diarrhea for sure. And you will have like symptoms that maybe you never had in your life. And remember that in a different setting, like you are not going to be home with your support system. I'm talking about that, like it's also going to be an adjustment period from the let's say, well-being, mental health point of view. It's going to be challenging. Like you're going to be homesick, and the support system that you used to have maybe for your whole life, it's not going to be there. Or yeah, maybe it's going to be there, but in a different way. And you will need to develop like new skills in order to go through go through this adjustment period at the very beginning, right? And try to create a new support system. We are going to be part of that new support system, and we are, as soon as you get there here, we are going to let you know about like how to also deal with these like wellness challenges here.
Thank you, Dr. Shani. I have another question here from Monica Hayward. Thank you, Monica. So it says, what do you recommend for women's activewear if tights and shorts are not appropriate? So what I was saying, tights and shorts are not appropriate in general during the training center hours, like wearing that to go to the schools or wearing that to go to the sessions. When you want to go running around, yeah, you can wear tights, you can wear shorts. Make sure that those shorts are not too tiny, again, because they attract a lot of attention. I know that even for people who are used to running and running marathons, we've had that. It had to tell a couple of both male and female trainees not to wear really tiny shorts because that attracts a lot of attention in the communities, okay? But you can wear them for going running.
Yes, I completely agree with Enrique. Once they are going to maybe put you in a higher risk for harassment, but remember that Peru as a culture, like, it's not something that we are going to do like here, and like maybe not at all in like rural areas.
No.
So you are going to be like different, right? So plus, if you are using like very tight pants or like really short shorts, it's going to be kind of, or possibly can be a complicated situation. I think that maybe you can get to do that after you went through this adjustment period and you get to know all the people in your community, or they already know who you are. So yeah, try to like have that in mind at the very end. Even here in Chilacay.
Yes. And a lot of our volunteers have created their own clubs, like running clubs with the people in their communities.
With the
And
kids.
yeah, kids or youth, and they do that, or women.
Yeah.
There are a lot of stories that our volunteers have. Okay, another question from Monica. When will I be able to begin using our vacation time? I have friends visiting in December. Okay, Alonso. Vacation time.
Yeah. So we usually have a challenge for all our new groups of volunteers after training, which we call the Insight Challenge or the 3 months challenge. And our country director, Tammy, is going to share more about it. The idea is that we recommend volunteers that stay in their sites at least for the very first 3 months, and in order to facilitate, or in order to know more about the culture, meet important people, people from your community identify you as a new community member, right? After this 3 months challenge, if you send an email to our country director saying that you have completed it successfully, you can get more vacation days. So we have an official vacation policy that I can share with you if you have specific questions about it. But we are also going to have a session on it during the pre-service training.
Yeah, but in general, during the first 3 months, no vacation requests. Okay, no vacation requests during the first 3 months of service. So that means you guys will start in November. So then December, January, February, you cannot take vacations. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk more about it during pre-service training. Then the next question is there an estimate number of gifts we should bring? Bring in 6 keychains. We cannot tell you at this point. We don't know how many people there will be in your host family. So that's why the easiest and safest choice would be bring chocolate. Okay, because you bring chocolate, you can share it with people. Dr. Shumi doesn't like chocolate, so don't bring chocolate for her. But yeah, bring chocolate, and if you bring like maybe a magnet for the fridge, just one for the whole house, and that will do. Or postcards from your hometown. You can bring postcards, and then you can, maybe laminate them and put them in the living room in the house where you're from, and the house from the place where you're from, and you can put it in the house of your host family and just show them where you're from. Okay. Next question from Mackenzie So the conference call email mentions a sleeping bag. Oh yeah, so sleeping bags, in the past we used to recommend them, and you can bring a sleeping bag if you want, especially depending on the place where you're placed. Volunteers were placed in the highlands. They tend to use their sleeping bags as like to cover themselves at night from the cold. During pre-service training, there are occasions when you might need to use them when we do field visits. But you can buy sleeping bags here in Lima too. You can there even in Chaclacayo you can find sleeping bags. Of course, the quality varies and the prices are higher. If you want to buy a really good quality one that you can find in the States, you can find them here too, but they're going to be more expensive. Okay. So if you are struggling with the amount of things that you're bringing and you feel like, oh, I don't have space for a sleeping bag, it's okay. You don't have to bring one. Okay. We recommend bringing one, but if you don't have the space, you can get one here. Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? No more questions? If you, as always, please feel free to email me if you have any other questions, or ask the questions in the Facebook group. I know that you've been interacting with our currently serving volunteers, and they're also great resources for you. They'll answer all your questions since they're already living here. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today, and then we'll be in touch. Okay, we'll see you September 5th. Okay? Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Bye.